Hey folks, this is Ben Gessel. This is going to be a nice, hopefully nice, early evening stroll. It's about 8 p.m. or so, May 3rd, 2019. Boy, am I going to cover a lot of ground. If I don't do it in one video, two or three. So I might go quite a ways tonight. So you're going to probably see a lot of the neighborhood. I'm just going to keep an eye on my phone because sometimes it likes to cut off my videos accidentally. So here we go. I'm going to dive right in. I have a whole bunch of stuff in my mind, and you guys are going to hear a lot of it. And the nice thing, of course, right now, by the way, is, of course, you guys can see more of my neighborhood. In the not so dark, more now late spring time. So, first thing on my mind right now. So I had a really vivid dream night before last night. I'll sum it up. I've mentioned maybe something about this before. Maybe a few of you guys have heard these videos. Maybe just about dating and my feelings about young women in my church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And they vary, but they've often been not always so pleasant. But that's not really just my church, it's really just everybody in general on some level, because most people just don't think like myself in a way, having Asperger's syndrome and being sensitive and musical and everything else about me that's just kind of a little different. And so it's just hard to click with everyone. So it's not really a question of religion, it's a question of personality sometimes. Although everybody seems to just think the world of me. I just seem to be kind of a little bit eccentric in a way I can't really help because I'm just born with this condition, so it's no big deal. But the thing is that this was a really vivid dream. It was so vivid that, heck, here I was in, I think what it was a church building of some sort, chapel. Well, no, it was a church building. It was the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints chapel, church building, where we meet on Sunday for church. But instead of it being Sunday church, it was something different. It was a social event of some sort with a lot of people my age or younger, I don't know, 30-somethings, who knows, 20, 30, maybe late 20s. So, on to in the 40s, maybe, I don't know. So the thing is here I am. This event, and I'm just kind of walking around. I've had a few dreams like this before, but they've been different. And this, I'm going to try to get too off topic here. I'm going to try to keep my thoughts focused here, because they can really go a lot of directions here. But so here was this building, church building, and something was being planned for some special romantic dance or something, or some romantic event. It was a big deal. And apparently it was going to happen later on that evening or something. And we needed to talk to someone. We wanted to kind of take us a date there. And I was assuming somebody was going to go with me. I didn't specifically talk to this person, but I thought she wanted to go with me. But I don't specifically remember talking to her about it. I just remember, we're just gonna go to this thing together, right? So, things go went this dream, and there were other people. There were definitely other people I knew in this dream. I knew in real life. Some I didn't. It was both. People I didn't know and people I did. So, yeah. I mean, and so the people I saw that I knew, I still had the same feelings that have always felt toward them, which were generally pretty good, but kind of often I regret not going on more dates with this person, or you know, I just, you know, your feelings about many people tend to not really change too much unless you have more interaction with them every day, I guess. So, I don't know. Anyway, this woman I was going to take to this romantic dance or whatever it was, romantic event, was not necessarily the most beautiful woman I've ever known. Certainly not that. Rena, she was attractive, but not super attractive. And, you know, I should have noticed that she wasn't really wanting to spend a whole bunch of time with me before this event anyway. So, as you can probably guess, when the time came to go to this event later on that evening, this is just a dream, mind you. Lo and behold, she was nowhere to be found. And I tried calling her, tried texting her in my dream, to no avail. She wouldn't answer. She wouldn't pick up. So I don't know if she had a date, or if she was just gonna go by herself, or I have no idea what happened there. And here I was, then looking around the church building for other people I could go to this event with, trying to hide whatever feelings I had that were not so amazing. And then, someone a bit older, not too old, Asian lady actually, she was Asian. She asked me, she goes, hey Ben, are you okay? And she was a little bit compassionate, and, you know, she noticed I wasn't feeling super amazing. And of course, what do I say? What does everyone say when something like this happens? I said, oh yeah, sure, oh yeah, I'm okay, I'm fine. Oh sure, no problem, it's okay. That's what everyone says, right? Nobody ever, I mean, unless you're really, you cannot control, you cannot hold it in, your sad emotions or frustrated or whatever emotions. And I'm gonna go the other way. So no, I mean, people tend to say that. I always say that. Oh, I'm doing just fine. I'm just great. And then, so, not too long after that little event, I woke up and I said to myself, wow, that dream totally stunk. That was a really sucky dream. I was not happy. Try to go back to bed and have a happier dream. So I just wanted to mention that. Because of course, on some level, these sorts of things are still in my psyche. You know, there are young women that burned me, some intentionally, some not. There are young women that, were expecting me to say something more to them that I didn't because I'd been burned. It's just a mess. It's a zoo. I honestly don't know why things are the way they are in life sometimes, like this way. And all I can say is that this life is not fair. It's cruel. It's insanely cruel, and it's insane. It's insane. It's beyond insane for anybody to have the slightest bit of expectations for anybody else in this arena of life. Because when something does work out for the better and so on, that's amazing and that's great. But it's just really emotional, and it's really not cool what happens to a lot of people in this arena of life. Now, I think in my life, no matter what I've gone through, I think a lot of folks, and I do mean a lot of folks, are going through even harder things in this arena of life. I mean, things that I can't even fathom regarding romantic relationships and dating and other things involving sex or whatever else, all this stuff. Um, in fact, I feel like I've kind of almost like sheltered my life, having not only Asperger's, but just growing up in the way I grew up. And, some people, I mean, I imagine some people probably are permanently, emotionally, spiritually just messed up just because of the way their life has been in the past and the way their life is. I mean, you could have people that are bullies, not just bullies in the traditional meaning of the word, but also, stalkers and in the worst, in the real meaning of that word, by the way, the real meaning of that word. You could have people that are really messed up, that think somehow that I don't know. I don't want to get into it. I just know that there's a lot of ugly things in this world, in this arena, that I don't want to be a part of. But because of the nature of this life, I'm probably going to experience at least some of those things. I'm not saying that I don't want to be sympathetic toward anyone. That's not what I'm saying at all. I've gone through different things I have gone through. I just know that there's so many things in this life that are just really messed up and evil and wrong. Not just romantically, but also including romantic stuff that gosh, man. And there's only so much that someone can really experience, I think, in general in life. I mean, am I capable at this point of hearing all this crap that some people have gone through? That I haven't gone through yet, and some of it's really heinously messed up. I don't know if I am ready to hear a lot of this stuff. One can only get so much out of watching movies and hearing about crazy things on YouTube and things. You get enough of that stuff that's, I think, real evil and trouble and things. You get enough of a sense of how evil and bitter and wrong that stuff is that you just want to say, and you don't want to be around toxic people, and you don't want to be around emotional vampires and that sort of thing. We all know this, but it's always a little tougher to sometimes recognize those things in real life. There are people who have been abused. I don't know. I just know that I always have a listening ear. I've always been that way to anyone. But I'm definitely not. I don't understand everything yet. There's a limit to what I can emotionally cope with, I suppose you could say, in other ways. So I realize that, and I think I expect my comprehension, maturity, and all these things will keep going up with time. Hopefully, you never know. I mean, hopefully. But the thing is, and it always takes effort. Things, not just age. So, aside from that, had a good experience working out things a bit more with the student situation thing. It was a long story. Teaching prep lessons is always a little bit interesting, especially when teaching students' homes. I mentioned these things a little bit before, maybe. I just find this really interesting, but also can be tough when you're talking about communicating better with people from different countries, different cultures, different ways of doing things. And it just takes a lot of, you have to be both really intuitive and trust your gut feelings about a lot of things when you're teaching lessons, but you also have to always obey the rules. Some things are just policies for different companies you work with. Some things are just ethical things that you just do. And, so it was good to have this particular situation resolved, which I'm not getting into too much right now. But something else I want to mention here too. Oh gosh, I'm sorry guys. Just different train of thought here. Sifting through some stuff here. I've had some, again, involving thoughts about people that are older than me, and stuff like that. And they've been evolving since I was a young guy, teens, of course. And they go something like this. There are a lot of people that are considerably older than me that are just not. They're just not pillars of the community at all. Far from it. You know, we keep thinking that with time and effort, most people will become better people. Well, that was the way I thought when I was little. Again, the younger I was, the more when I grew up, everyone I knew that was older seemed to be amazing. But that was because I was surrounded by people that were members of my church that were the cream of the crop in my church, especially. They were really awesome folks. A lot of people, astounding number of people, that are twice my age, or older than I am. I noticed this for a while, of course, but you notice this more and more. So there are a lot of people that need to get some things straightened out in their lives, even more than whatever issues I have. Whatever. And by the way, in case you guys have been wondering about this train of thought, yes, I do try to avoid other people on the sidewalk because I try not to film anyone without their permission and try to just let people be. That's the way I just am. Life is simpler that way. But if you guys want to, at some point, talk to some other people or see some other people on my videos, I'm sure that can be arranged. Anyway, so no, it's again a former boss. I told one of my musical colleagues that I knew had a previous job. I first met him via this job. How I really felt about the boss of this former company I worked for. And why I wasn't, it's long. I shouldn't get into it, but felt really good to finally get whatever set off my chest, even though it wasn't fully what I wanted originally. A lot of employers, as I mentioned before, they just don't. They don't get it. A lot do, but I think, I always mentioned maybe something about business or taxes or something. The thing is that what a lot of people don't realize is that whether it's something about this life or the next life, when you're talking about employees, these employees are not going to just immediately go away. They don't just cease to exist. Nobody just ceases to exist. My enemies, whatever enemies I've supposedly had, or supposed enemies I've ever had in my life, they don't just go away. People that have given me nightmares don't just go away. Nobody goes away. People die. People get sick. You don't see people for a long time. You avoid people, or they avoid you. But the thing is that nobody goes away permanently. And also there's the afterlife. And so what a lot of employers sometimes forget is if something doesn't work out so well for especially the employee or the employer, if the company goes bankrupt or whatever, but in some cases, but employers often don't value their employees, or they don't think about, if we want to keep this employee, or what is this employee really good at, or what position would they be better at, or how can we work this out better for this person? Instead of thinking about that train of thought, which my dad tends to go more, how can we use our personnel better, right? Who is really good at what? Instead of going that route, some people are just gonna fire people nilly-willy, right? Or they're gonna layoffs, whatever they can do, whatever's legal. I don't understand all the legality of what they can do or can't do, because it's another big, huge subject that's very legal. I understand some of the basics, but it's very in depth. But no, some employers just are knuckleheads. And there's an astounding number that are, and it often is more common in certain types of professions. And, you know, obviously, look, even though my grandpa was a farmer and a door-to-door salesman and some other things along those lines, kind of did a lot of different things to make ends meet. But, you know, it was farming and it was selling stuff. I think my grandpa did stuff in magazines, or not magazines, catalogs. It was catalogs, like Sears catalog stuff or whatever. That was my dad's dad. And then my dad, of course, did really well in business, in management and stuff. And then I think my great grandpa was a farmer also, or something. I can't remember what he did. But then on my mom's side, my grandpa was a chemical engineer. And then before, I can't remember what my great grandpa did before him. But a lot more practical sorts. But my grandpas are pretty smart. Some of them are better at business than others, maybe. I don't know. But there's a side to me that's a little bit tougher and more thick-skinned, and definitely a bigger side to me that's not so much that way. I'm definitely more the sensitive sort. So even though I might be at times in my life in top shape and strong and perfectly able to do certain types of jobs, I mentioned this before in certain of my videos. You know, I'm not really the first person that some people might think of when they think of coal miners or steel workers or truck drivers or I don't know, certainly not bouncers. Bouncers are big boys. They're also often highly skilled martial arts, but generally you're talking like a big buff bodybuilder boys type guys. So it's not so much my thing. So I'm definitely in the professor, composer, artistic, intellectual, smart, and I can do a lot of jobs requiring high IQ. You know, just question of how much people want me multitasking, or what exactly the job is like. And the more I can just tune everything out and just focus on what I'm doing, the better. You know, so I mean, some jobs just suit me better. Some jobs just suit me better, and so, you know, it's the jobs that you have that don't suit you as well, that they often don't tend to work out as amazing as you would like them to work out. But I would just say that in general, you know, anybody with Asperger's syndrome is probably going to be better off. Probably going to be better off being a clerk if they're doing retail. Just being a clerk. Not so much the sales thing. Because, well, sales involves a lot of things that Asperger's folks find really hard to do. And it's much harder for Asperger's folks to do that. But we often, you know, many of us... Look, there's a girl on YouTube. I'm watching her stuff. I mean, she's probably in her, late teens? I don't know. Early 20s, hard to say. But, I mean, she works at a place in New York. I think your family's pretty cool. But yeah, she's more severely Asperger's than me. But she's a really nice girl, and she has a computer job, and it works out pretty well for her because she's able to kind of sit down at her computer and do her stuff. So, but when you're talking to people about, oh gosh, like being a car salesman, for crying out, I've never done that, but goodness sakes, I mean, like, it's just like, people have all kinds of, geez, I didn't even think about real estate, but there's all kinds of things going on in someone's mind, worries, and worried about getting ripped off, and is someone else going to have a better deal, and not just a better deal in terms of cents and single dollars, but like some seriously considerable discounts. Seriously, I'm gonna go back around here a little bit. Somebody's just doing a funny little YouTube thing. I mean, people get so freaked out about cars. So there's like websites devoted to car sales. I mean, buying a car, which I'll probably use at some point. How can somebody like myself even remotely succeed at some kind of job like that? Well, it's possible, but it's not what we do. But there are a lot of things involving sales that don't involve being a career salesman or being, there's just a lot of things that are more retail-ish. It's just that the world of work is, if you're doing something outside of what you went to college for, because what you went to college for, if you went to college, or your career path is a lot more, what that stuff is a lot more what you are just good at, and just you tend to know you don't always learn this in college, but you tend to learn even from the working world what you tend to click with better anyway over time. So, and then you obviously learn things, but some employers will just they're not going to be, your professors are often aloof enough as it is. It's sad, but unnecessary in a way. But employers are definitely not going to be very helpful in that area. They're just going to be your boss. Maybe you'll have some employers that might be a bit mentorish. I don't know. Personally, the only people who've ever been that way, a little bit mentorish, have been members of my church, where I've worked around them. Or someone that I know that is more my senior, age-wise, or maturity-wise, or whatever else, that we just click well personality-wise, and I sense they're a good person, and they are teaching me things, but more suggestions and things. But in the working world, I just haven't had very many mentors. Not really, but yes, more. But it's definitely more in the composition and performance and music instruction end. Definitely that, and then of course the professors I had in college. But definitely not so much in areas outside of that core area of my career. I mean, I hate to say this, but I see more and more why this world is so messed up. It's so messed up because the people I have known, personally or professionally, or both. But I just don't I try not to dwell on everybody's things. Sometimes it's just very glaringly apparent, and you have to deal with it. Most of the time, I just don't want to think about it, But there were some other things I wanted to talk about with you guys, so I do apologize. Maybe some of this might have to wait for a second video. But I'm a very sensitive person. I cannot help that. Sometimes dreams are the only outlet for some emotions. Incidentally, though, talking about music here for a bit. I can't remember his name, but there's definitely some easy listening composers that I've been listening to more recently. Some pretty new guys. I continue to find that there's a lot of folks in that loungy, easy listening, library music, type of thing, whether it's BBC or American or Italian or. We're generally talking more European, though. I'm generally talking about more European, France and Italy, Germany, England, Poland, whatever, occasionally. But it's more Europe we're talking about with this library music stuff. And I think for the most part. And because American composers, we tend to be a bit more familiar with some of them not so much. But I've been listening to some new guys, and it's amazing how much music has been written. It's library music that I think is of a very high quality. I mean, truly. But on this note, I've mentioned this a little bit before, maybe. There's a lot of ongoing discussion as to the worth of classical music versus popular music. And amongst different kinds of popular music, what kinds of popular music are just more beefy, substantial, meaningful, help you. just there's just more to it, right? What do we value more? What's more valuable? What's more worthwhile to listen to? What adds more to your knowledge and your aesthetic sensitivity and good qualities and mind, intelligence, imagination, all that stuff. And so it's an ongoing conversation. Nobody really knows everything. It's just that it's unmistakable to me that there's still a lot of classical snobs that dismiss some of this stuff as not being worth their time, and they're ridiculous. They're full of it. Because a lot of this library music, which we think idly as being sometimes like elevator music, it isn't. Elevator music is meant to relax you, but is not meant to be particularly catchy, or not meant to be something that would draw your attention to it. It's elevator music is a lot more just zone out and not think about it, but just puts you more at ease type music. Now you do have some music that's in between the Muzak elevator stuff and this library music that is, I think, more substantial, beefy. We just don't always know who wrote some of this library music, because it's just used for all kinds of stuff that is used by permission. And by the way, yes, we're talking about not just NFL footage. We're talking about all kinds of older shows and movies and Spider-Man, and the list is endless, right? It's not just in Europe; it's in the United States, especially. A lot of American media companies will use this European library music in their stuff, and not just NFL films or footage or highlights. So, but this is really good stuff. And I'm going to meet with one of my colleagues in the Fly Symphony soon. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. Violinist Nathan Jensen, actually, about this. Nathan's a composer, and I think he is in charge of the music at a Lutheran church over in Seattle. Nathan's an awesome musician. I would check out Nathan Jensen. Writes some great stuff. It's intellectually pretty beefy, and he likes my anyway. But anyway, we're gonna have a conversation. It's always great to collaborate and just chat with musicians that are more professional level. And sometimes you're wowed by them, sometimes they're wowed by you, sometimes it goes both ways. Sometimes it's like, and just you never know where it's gonna go. And it's just this is the kind of stuff I need to keep doing more and more. Because in college you kind of do this, but in college you're only faintly aware of, I don't know, it's not